Welcome back to Esports U. We do have our Rainbow Six Siege match. Well, one of the matches going on. We also have our main channel match going on today. But for this channel, we do have Ohio Northern versus was this Trine University, and seems we do have some technical difficulty on the side of Corbeck as he
There we go.
is just connecting. There you go. But well, I'm Sugar and this is Corbeck. How you doing today, Corbeck?
Doing fine. Looking forward to watching some collegiate esports here. Don't really know much about these two teams, but doubtless they will provide us with hopefully something interesting to talk about.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I mean, we do got some maps, not new maps, but we do have some an interesting map pool that both of the teams have decided to pick for us. One of them being a theme park, and the other being chalet. And then the last map, if we ever do get to it, is Oregon. First, we're starting out with theme park. We're already going into that ban phase. Any expectations for theme park? Because to be honest, whenever I've watched anything below T1, I haven't really, when I have seen theme park, and it's been very few times. The bands usually are almost always the same thing.
Yeah, theme park is a bit of an interesting map. There's you don't see it played very often. It's kind of complicated. A lot of teams will tend generally, I think, try to trend away from it just because it's so uncommon. But if you are going to go at it, I think these operator bands in particular do make a lot of sense, right? You take your Nook off the
Yeah.
field. She's such a fragger these days with the grenades and the silencer and everything else. And of course, you get Flores out of it as well. Should expect to follow on the Mira, and I would imagine a Valkyrie here as well, Sugar, because these are the, like you said, pretty standard stuff, right?
Yeah, pretty standard stuff. Of course, with the Nox, she's been a must ban for a lot of teams on a lot of different maps. A lot of the bigger maps, at least, like theme park, chalet, bank, clubhouse, you name all of them. She will most likely be on the ban list for them. Flores makes a lot of sense on a map that enables the defenders a lot more than they enable the attackers with the power positions that you can play around it. And Flores makes it so much easier to deal with those power positions. Speaking of power positions, Azami's going to be the last one banned, followed by the Mira, and that makes a lot of sense because on with theme park being as big of a map as it is, and it encouraging a lot of the lurking plays from Nook, it also encourages a lot of roam and a lot of extensions, and Azami makes those extensions 100 times more powerful.
Yeah, Azami obviously a very powerful operator. I'm not going to discount her impact on the game, but the fact that they've taken Valkyrie's in this and isn't getting used, I think, is kind of awkward. It's one of these things where she's banned so frequently as an operator that I genuinely think that some of these people are not comfortable with playing her, right? Because she's just always gone. But if she's on the board like she is right now, it really, I think, does behoove a defending team to take her because she's so valuable. And right now, they've sort of handicapped themselves by not bringing that option out. But from the looks of it, right, they've got a pre-can strategy they're going to go with here. They've got the castle in, which is an interesting choice for sort of restructuring the site a little bit. And I really like the addition to the Wamai and the Jaeger for just double projectile denial utility.
Yeah, they're gonna put the shield onto Squirrely, who I assume is gonna have that shield rest somewhere by Cafe. I didn't get to see where the alibi put her shield at, but nonetheless, those shields, obviously you do want to have some type of utility played behind them. But so far, Trine going for that office extension, as you see so many teams do on the defensive side of this map, as the first site we are going to go to is daycare bunks. Drones going out for Ohio Northern, gonna drone out Cafe side. I assume they're gonna just have one player set up there, maybe even two, just to remove the player in cafeteria hallway as they are getting the hatches on the roof. A player down below for them as well. And it just seems like for Ohio Northern that maybe the idea here is not really an office execute as you see so many teams do, but taking the yellow stairs control, taking main stairs control, and also looking to make this a three-pronged attack combined with the cafe control too.
Yeah, I don't think that's a particularly bad idea, but they kind of done a little bit of a misplay here in the sense that I don't think they quite realized that a castle was in play, because the only operator that they have to deal with that castle is Watch Shelm on the Zofia, and in truth, I mean, they've already used one of their impacts, right? So the effectiveness it dramatically reduced in their ability to clear. They don't even have flat pack charges, and you can see, I mean, already they're kind of struggling to get into these defensive positions. A good kill right there early on, and another good one coming down the way from Squirrely. And a 3v5 now with the castle barricades to deal with on top of everything is not looking like a particularly good moment here for Ohio Northern.
Yeah, they just took a lot of time doing a lot of different things, but not really taking care of the real problems around the map so far. And thus, they suffered 2 kills from it. Early was just, or he has been below the whole entire time. Probably gonna go for a flank up the main stairs. King can find himself 2 big picks, but can't find a second. As the third is found for Trine. 50 seconds left on the board as it turns into a 1v4 with the Nomad of Otters all by himself, stuck on the top of main or arcade, or whatever you like to call it, but really no way out of this situation.
No, I mean, I think the inevitable ending here, right, is that Otters maybe gets a kill and gets traded out immediately. Unfortunately, won't even get that. Muma there finishing them off. Well, looking back over it, I mean, you made a very good point, Sugar, about the attempt to come at this from multiple angles. And usually I'm a heavy advocate of the idea you don't all push one site from the same direction. That's just a recipe for disaster. But in this case, I feel like Ohio Northern was almost a little bit too dispersed. They just had too many operators shifting in too many different places, to the point where when the kills started to come in, there wasn't a lot of trade gameplay that could be played off of, right? We saw those early first 2 kills, no response whatsoever. Everybody else was kind of stuck in a very unfavorable position there, heading up towards arcade. And well, we get the end result there of Trine walking away with the W. But Trine seems very comfortable with this lineup here, Sugar. They're running it again as we move on down the throne.
Yeah, Throne Room is one of those sites where no matter how good you do on the attack, there's always still a way in for the defense just because of the way that it's structured. And last time out, we saw how badly Ohio Northern struggled to use their utility just because the castle pick probably threw them off, as he's not
10 seconds remaining.
he's not really a common pick inside of competitive play, and it's going to be picked here again, but the same operators are seeming to be chosen by Ohio Northern, apart from what the change as far as going to be the ace in the thermite instead of the ace, and then in place of the lion last round we have a Thatcher. So maybe what they're trying to do here is go for a maintenance push, as you see them kind of prep for that, while also looking to get vertical control, or not vertical, well, vertical control, because they do have the Sophia with the breaching charges.
Yeah, they've got a lot more options with dealing with the castle util, but it's obviously not as critical, right, for their strategy here. You see this immediate push in from ONU to just get positioning and then start breaching. They're going straight for the heart of the throne room, and then they're worrying about setting up the flank. It's a bold strategy, but the downside of doing something this kind of risky is that you don't necessarily take control of the other threats on the map, but here they go anyway, and immediately getting shot here. Good kill coming in right there. Amazing kill as well in the drop down. Not the best strategy in the world. The plant is down. It's already at 4v2, and this is apparently paying dividends here for Ohio Northern.
Yeah, Ohio Northern just walk inside a site from maintenance, go behind the throne, get the entry picks, and there's really nothing that Trine could have done in the positions that they were in. So you have to make the argument that they could have just positioned themselves better to deal with that rush, but they quite literally weren't. Just a lack of presence inside of throne room, nobody behind the throne itself to catch those rushers off guard, and now the last player alive, Marquini, stuck in split. Very hard situation to fight himself out of. He does find one pick, gonna go for the knife, but gets air trapped. Gonna go for the Mossberg pump instead, but is easily shut down by Watchland, and that is Ohio to grab a round back.
It's interesting that last round, you know, that I was saying that they spread out so much. This round, very concentrated, right? Everything thrown through one breach, and it did actually seem to work better. I just don't think that Trine was necessarily expecting that. I wouldn't actually blame them, because, I mean, obviously, establishing some horizontal attacks, getting the breaches open. That's an important part of the strategy. Usually, though, you do see a little bit more vertical play, right? Like at a higher level, you would see a lot of clashes on the top floor there, trying to set up maybe some murder holes and some abilities to clear out that point. But just a very straight, aggressive gut punch working out right there. If we do come back to Throne Room again, Sugar, I don't know that Ohio Northern will be able to get away with that a second time.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think Trine could have actually gone back to Throne Room. Obviously, that round shook them up just a little bit, and so now they're moving into Initiation Office. And this isn't particularly a bad idea. Again, they're going with the castle pick. They're going with the same lineup that they've been going for the past 3 rounds, not really changing anything up. The same people on the same exact operators with the same ideas, the same extensions, obviously, using that mute drone. Since Flores has been the main thing that those mute drones are going to be used for, is just denying attacker intel and just slowing them down a little bit. And as we saw from Ohio Northern in the very first round, they were slowed down a lot, but not really by mute jammers, just because the castle pick, again, was like really disruptive. And you combine castle with mute, and again, that's a lot of time wasting on the board for the defenders.
Yeah, I agree 100%. They're taking time there. Every, push in, kind of like what we're seeing right now, actually, is a very sort of cautious and slow advance, which is obviously demanded of any attacking side, but there will be things in here that are going to make this even harder. Otters with some good intel off the drone right there, gets a decent idea of where his opponent is lurking, but yeah, he's got to make a lot of ground up right there. And, well, the infamous castle barricades are still very much an issue, but a total of 6 flat pack charges here to deal with them, in addition to Sophia's impact grenades, should not be an issue. What is a bigger issue, however, is that Otters dies with all 3 flashback charges and all 3 EMP grenades. So the Thatcher not going to be of use any further here.
Yeah, I was going down pretty early, and I'm very confused about the push here from Ohio Northern. Usually teams, there is nothing wrong with having, yeah, see, that's why I don't like that. There's nothing wrong with having, like, the push coming in through Cafe, coming in through Arcade, but usually teams, the reason why you push over by inside is just because it's a lot better and a lot more effective than pushing in from Cafe when you don't really have full intel on the extensions. And as you can tell, it didn't really look like Ohio Northern had any type of intel, because they just rushed right into some crossfires. They deal with the castle barricades, they're using their util, but it just doesn't seem like they're using their drones as effectively. Now we're in a 1v4 situation with Sophia all on her lonesome, and all 3 players were trying. Well, they're already back on site, taking the safe road.
Yeah, and a 1v3 now as well. A very difficult situation for even the most veteran players to salvage. Watch Shell gonna try and make it work. Certainly can do it on the Zofia. It's not in the realm of impossibility, but the trade game will be very serious here. The diffuser getting picked up should give them a pretty good clue of where their opponent is. And watch Shell just taking their sweet time. And I will say, on the side of Trine, they're playing this okay. There's no need for them to come out here and challenge the Zofia if they don't want to. They can stay snug in their defensive positions and essentially wait for the attacker to come to them. And it looks like that's what's going to manifest. Watch down here, pre-fires, gets a kill onto Squirrely. Okay, now we're in 1v2 territory. We're cooking a bit. Takes down a camera, has got a potential entry here onto the site. Of course, still 2 defenders left to go. That might be a bit of a getaway, and I don't know how they're going to challenge that corner. Good pre-fire coming in right there. Might have actually got the drop on Marquini. Could this be the end? Watch Shell now trying to make a play. Instead, goes for the plant. They don't have any choice. Only a few seconds left. Curio's coming forward, has to be quick on the ball, misses it, gets it on the turn. Woo, that got a little bit close there, Sugar. That could have been bad.
Oh my. Yeah, no, I mean, the Zofia did a great job of isolating her 1v1s, finding players in really hard positions, and I feel like maybe the mute with the shotgun just kind of stuck himself between a rock and a hard space by placing himself in such a very hard to get out position, but also a position that's very hard to capitalize off of. And the Zofia made a good job of just getting that kill, making it a 1v1. Just time ran low, got to the 0-second mark, and she had to unfortunately stick that defuse. Now the game is in Trine's hands as they do take the lead, but it's been very close, been very back and forth. We've seen teams in the past 3 rounds that have been played. We've seen both teams have like really good like rounds, and then also have some situations where they have like completely dropped the ball. But it's not like it's a match so far by any means.
No, I think they're kind of slugging back and forth here, right? And we'll see if Ohio Northern can kind of maintain that pattern. They're moving the defenses over back towards where they started from, which of course was a Trine victory. But Ohio Northern has had the opportunity to learn from their previous defeat here. I think a good indicator of whether this is going to go well or not would be if they spread themselves out a little bit. But King SC coming out here on the Montaigne, what do you make of that?
Well, it'll help them when dealing with the extension game here from Trine. Of course, the Monty pick is like really, really good for helping you clear out roamers and putting pressure on players off site, because he serves as more of a figurehead, and you have to make like a conscious decision or be able to really play off of like your own type of game sense, whether or not the Monty's being held by teammates or being guarded by teammates is usually a big scare for defenders who are having to face him. And I mean, he's also very good at just going into rooms like this and clearing it with his shields and helping really accelerate this attack on time, because that's the one thing from Ohio Northern that I can safely complain about, is that in most of their rounds they've been able to run very low on time, apart from the one round in throne room where they were rushing through maintenance.
You can see the value of the Montaigne kind of being illustrated here. He is basically an alternative intelligence gathering operator. You send him forward, he's got the shield so he can't be wounded easily, and he gives you the insights of what he can see, as long as you're, obviously communicating. Don't go try and pick that trick up in your unranked games where nobody's saying a word. But the information that he's providing here, I mean, I think it's of okay value. They are eventually going to have to shift him forward. EMP grenade coming out right there, and it does look like Sandwich is down. Good challenge. The machine gets dropped immediately. Gyros Mars, a whole flurry of violence right there. Otter's the only one who's able to answer, and that just leaves King SC and Watchshelm in play. And, well, King SC isn't much of a fragger, but I guess Watchshelm could step up and do some serious work.
Yeah, that attack from Ohio Northern by security side, just not really, security side, just not really working the way that they would want that to have worked for them, with the thermite getting the wall and then nobody really watching the swing there from the castle. Monty just clearing by himself, not really having the backup from his teammate, and Mini is there to deal with that. Now it's a 1v4 in favor of Trine, but that's a, whoa, okay, he just hit that. He's nasty. He hit that shot, now makes it a 1v3. But still very tall task ahead of him, as Trine in this situation, again, when they get like a good man advantage, they know how to back off. They know to not really overdo it, especially if there is one last player alive. But in saying that, there is one player who decides to challenge him. That is Big O Killer. He falls, and now it's a 1v2 with 15 seconds left.
15 seconds to go.
Watchshelm gonna try and finish it off. Doesn't have a lot of time to make the play. The defenders, they just have to get out of dodge. Doesn't even have access to the diffuser lying on the ground there. It's a triple kill for Watchshelm. Woo! That's a risky maneuver right there by Squirrely at the tail end. Gets the kill, but honestly, not a challenge they needed to take, if we're being honest. They could have just waited it out.
Yeah, I mean, okay, it's another 1v3 where we see like Watchland able to just isolate his 1v1s yet again, and Trine make it very easy for him. That round was a lot easier for him to isolate his 1v1s than the previous round was, because I initially complimented Trine saying they know when to back off. But in that round, they actually didn't back off. You just see everybody spread out everywhere. Nobody's really holding across as to where the Zofia would actually come from. And they almost throw that round away again. And now we see a timeout coming in. I believe this is from, was this Trine? And they want to talk things over. Both rounds got very, very close. So I imagine both teams have things that they want to talk about. But Ohio Northern, I mean, Corbeck, what do you think's going through their mind at the moment?
It's a frustrating situation to be in. Realistically, right? If we're going to look at them, Sugar, and talk about how it's been going, the only person who's really been significantly contributing to these probable victories is Watchstone, right? The rest of the squad not doing too much. I mean, I'll give a bit of credit to King SC there for gathering intel, but at the end of the day, the 2 rounds have been just Watchstone getting frags. They need to change that. Obviously, you want to get everybody more involved on the gunplay. You want to establish some trade game, which is something that they've
Yeah.
really been missing out on. Uh, it's hard, right? Not knowing these teams to offer like sort of pertinent recommendations on like you should do this or you should do that. But I think the most important thing right now is developing a game plan that gets more people involved in the killing and setting up more means of establishing crossfires and establishing trade. If they can do that, I think they'll be in a lot better situation in these kind of difficult end round moments.
Yeah, no, and that's one thing that's been like a big issue for Ohio Northern. Not really having the support that is needed to be had for one another when it comes to attack, because for attack you need to work more together as a team than you really do need for the defense. That's not to say teamwork isn't crucial for the defense, neither it is, but it's not nearly as important as it is for the attack. And we haven't seen Ohio Northern been able to break through in terms of like the first bloods, neither. It's been trend for the past 4 rounds that have been played, and we really need to see Ohio Northern not only get on, not only have more players get on that kill sheet, but also get themselves established at the beginning of the round. Because the Monty pick was fine. I feel like it was a good change for them, but then nothing really changed in their play style, even when he was picked.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, he just kind of pushed forward a little bit and provided them with information. I mean, that's, I guess, useful. But in
Yeah.
a lineup where you're already having issues with effective, basically fragging power, taking a gun out of the mix, I don't know that that necessarily helps too much. Looks like one of the members of Trine is having some sort of computer issues, so they're going to restart the whole thing here. King SC also maybe taking this opportunity to reset the computer. Uh, well, we can't help that, I'm afraid. These things do happen, so we'll hold for a minute here and see if we can get them back in the lobby. And looking something about this map causes problems. Truer words have never been spoken, Squirrely. This map, I think, does cause some significant problems. We are, by the way, Sugar, going back to Armory Throne Room here, which I think is an interesting scenario because that was a decisive round win for Ohio Northern last time. So we'll get a good chance to see whether or not Trine is capable of learning lessons from their mistakes in previous rounds.
Yeah, it was just the mistake of not really being prepared for a rush. Nobody expects a rush from maintenance just behind a throne, and the players who were positioned inside of sight, whether it be in throne or armory, just weren't too quick on a trigger, and their reactions to the Ohio Northern players running into sight seemed a little bit delayed. So I mean, that can easily be fixed by positioning players, just being a little bit quicker on a trigger finger, yes, but also maybe bringing in some new ops that are good at walled, good at hard breach denial, such as a bandit. Since Kaid isn't banned neither, as he is so normally banned on other maps, Kaid could be picked too. We see a player from Trine actually hovering over the bandit, and that is Mini Muma. So that could come in handy, and that could also delay time for against Ohio Northern if they do decide to go for this rush again.
Yeah, I think that's a perfectly understandable assessment. I mean, they obviously were trying to do a little bit of denial there in the form of the mute, but got pretty quickly canceled out by those EMP grenades, which is just, the danger, I guess, of bringing a Thatcher along as much as people aren't super familiar with him. I
Yeah.
I will add to that kind of mixture as well that there is the sort of perennial issue that ever since they changed the gadget, right, and mute, he's not as good of a hard breach denier as he used to be. And I think that there are still some people who are even now still coming around to that acceptance. But it does look like we're going to be taking time here for a full rehost. So, I mean, this inadvertently works out pretty good for these teams. This gives them an opportunity to chit chat and strategize and maybe come up with some pathways forward.
Yeah, I mean, you see it all the time in the NAO with teams take technical timeout, and it's used as like a little extra tactical timeout. So it gives Ohio Northern time to talk about their strategies and what they need to do better when it comes to their early round situations, and also just time management as well as their strategies when it comes to the attacks. I don't really think there's anything wrong with the way that they push. I just think that there's something wrong with the areas that they push, and also them not really establishing themselves at the beginning of each round, because again it's almost always trend. It's always been trend actually to get the very first bloods in the past 4 rounds. So we really need to see Ohio Northern, their fraggers. We need to see their fraggers start to get some first bloods for them, because something isn't clicking in those early round situations.
That's very true. I mean, one of the statistics that is sometimes overlooked, but often in hindsight, frequently opined upon, is the ability to get early round kills, right? To be the first strike, especially pertinent for attackers to be able to get an early kill, like you're saying, because, the defenders with a man advantage, it just becomes more and more difficult. You start chipping away at them. Obviously, it becomes a little bit easier. It's one less angle that can be covered. It's one less roamer that they can have, whatever that may be. One thing I think, looking at the other side of the ball, I do think Trine could improve on their post game, or their not post game's not the right word, their late game sort of positioning. That's something I've noticed a couple of times. I'm thinking back to the last round that we saw with the Zofia coming in, and there's just like a Jaeger lying on the ground in the middle of the hallway. I mean, like,
Yeah.
I was giving them a bit of an up. I was like, hey, they're playing this pretty smart. They're hanging back. They're not trying to challenge, which was true. But then the end game positioning right there, no, not particularly good. I mean, just a dude lying on the floor is not going to fool anybody. And it didn't fool the Zofia player at all in that scenario. So something that they're going to want to, I think, improve on just a little bit is how they are handling those end games. I mean, they're obviously incredibly advantageous scenarios, but realistically, a 1v3 should not be reduced to a 1v1 with the amount of time that they had left in that last matchup.
Yeah, also you mentioned positionings as well. It's just, yeah, it's also about holding crossfires. We just saw them again be in situations where the Zofia was forced to take 1v1s against them, and Zofia having the AR, it's been buffed as a lot of the ARs have been. It's a very strong weapon, and if you take that gun head on, you are probably going to get knocked down. So you really have to have the support of your teammates when it comes to those late round situations, which we haven't been seeing from Trey. They're really good at getting opening picks. They're really good at establishing themselves early on and capitalizing off of the unorganization that we have seen from Ohio Nation or Ohio University in the very beginnings of those rounds. But they're also struggling in the late round situations, which you can't have on the defense, especially when the attack is so on time. And they didn't, in those last few rounds. It wasn't, they did get saved about the clock in that 1v3 on offense initiation, but that last round was just the alibi being in an unexpected position and popping her head up when Sophia least expected it. And you don't really want to win rounds in those situations where you have such a healthy man advantage.
No, and you don't want to be putting defending players in a situation where they're basically just like reflex checking attackers in such a difficult scenario as well. I mean, obviously caught Sophia off guard that time and got the kill. There's a world that exists where that doesn't happen. And, Sophia fires a round off and manages to get a headshot, and then you've just lost the game with 2 seconds left. So, yeah, I think learning to set up the crossfires and playing that a little bit better would really help. And I think something that speaks to that a little bit is what we saw last time when we were on Throne Room, which is the stage that we were going back to, where they didn't have a very good position ready to respond to what should have been a very obvious breach that was going to come in. And I don't just mean that in the sense that it was obvious because we saw the preparations coming in. I mean that in the sense that it was obvious that a team is always going to try and breach that particular side. Yet the player upstairs didn't have a very good plan for getting back. It was literally just dropped through the floor. The defenders on the site didn't have very good sight lines to, defend it. It was just very messy. The best that they got out of it was somebody wrapping back through the hall. So that's when I say, we'll get a good chance now to see if Trine has learned from their previous mistakes, the way in which they set that up. And it kind of applies as well to Ohio Northern, because and I said it at the end of the round and I say it again, I just don't think you can run that lightning strike breach again. I just don't think it'll work. They'll be anticipating it this time.
Yeah, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me 3 times or fool me 2 times, I can't put the blame on you. Fool me 3 times, F the peace sign, load the chopper, let it rain on you. That's a J. Cole song. I really like that lyric. That's probably one of my favorite ones. But yeah, like you can't get away with that twice in a row. You most definitely can't get away with it 3 times in a row. You get away with it once, that's fine, that's cool. But Trine is most likely going to have a plan to deal with that in the very next round. I saw the Bandit, they were hovering over it. And of course, Bandit did receive his changes a little while back, where you can now stack his Bandit charges on top of each other. So it's you can actively look to Bandit trick now without having to keep on like removing the batteries, replacing them back. It becomes such a big hassle. So, but yeah.
Okay, well, it looks like we're having a little bit more difficulty on the technical side than we thought. So as much as you'd like to see Suga and I continuing our podcast episode here on Rainbow Six Siege in this match in particular, we are going to take a quick break. We'll be right back as soon as we get both teams in the lobby for the next part of this exciting ECAC match.
Putting that on the Lord, ain't accepting ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cars is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to. Back when I was broken, I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Y'all offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live. Ain't accepting ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cars is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live.
The one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. Want to forge a better future? Start with the structures that support tomorrow's missions. You believe the best offense is a good defense. We've got a great way to prove that theory. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Are you the one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
We all got a thing that gets us out of bed or keeps us out of it. The thing we live to do, that we do for nothing at all. But don't do it for nothing. Take it to where it means everything. Becoming a leader is a choice. So if you want to learn to make big decisions, start with this one. Decide to lead.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing!
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Skip entry level. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
You think knowledge is a powerful weapon? Here, you'll have plenty of ammo. Look to science to solve problems? Wield a microscope to confront global threats. You sometimes dream in code? Become a cyber attacker's worst nightmare. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
What do you expect from that first job out of college? Working your way up from the bottom? Instead, how does this sound? Starting in a guaranteed leadership position with people who look to you for guidance because you're trained to give it and make important decisions in critical situations. Skip entry level. Decide to lead as an Army officer. Becoming a leader is a choice not everyone wants to make. Because all eyes are on you. Calling the shots. Inspiring others to follow. In any environment, at any scale. It's not for everyone, but if you want to learn to make big decisions, start with this one. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
You think knowledge is a powerful weapon? Here, you'll have plenty of ammo. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soar, I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the ground and the cards is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Your offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cars is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live.
Are you the one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. Want to forge a better future? Start with the structures that support tomorrow's missions. You believe the best offense is a good defense. We've got a great way to prove that theory. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Are you the one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to the ECAC Week 3 of Rainbow Six Siege. I'm Corbeck, alongside me is Sugar, and we are bringing you a match between Northern Ohio University and Trine University. We had to take a quick break there for a technical issue, but it looks like everything is good and back on board. Hopefully, in just a second, we'll be jumping back into our game, which is the theme park, and I believe, Sugar, correct me if I'm wrong, we're about 5 rounds in? Bang, right on it.
About 5 rounds in, 4 rounds played. So, you know, your math's correct. You got it. I see you. But, yeah, I mean, so far, we already talked about both of these teams and, you know, what's been going right for Trine, what's been going wrong for Ohio Northern. We also kind of poked a little bit at Trine and what they're doing at the end of rounds. It's not really working out for them, and that's been giving Ohio Northern some kind of reach back in rounds where they shouldn't really have a reach in it in the first place. But now we're going into Armory Throne, and, well, we talked about it, or at least I did. We talked about the changes coming into this lineup because they haven't really changed their lineup in the past, 4 rounds played. Now we see 2 new operators in the Echo and Bandit.
Yeah, they're definitely making those shifts based on what happened here last time. So the adaptability is there. The Echo, I think, is a bit of an interesting choice. I'm assuming that maybe is a pick to try and stuff a breach, right? Get the drone in there and use those concussions to hold them back. Still a little bit just a little bit curious that neither of these teams, well, I guess we've actually, never mind, Trine, has not taken the option of bringing in a Valkyrie yet, who I still feel would be a very effective pick for them in helping provide just a ton of information. But you can see already from the setup here that Ohio Northern is not going to engage in the same kind of rush strategy, so they've learned a little bit as well. Looks like we're going for a more stereotypical top entrance and then kind of a horizontal clear to add to that as they attempt to set up an opportunity to at least establish one breach.
Yeah, I mean it's a good decision from Ohio Northern. It's the most obvious decision not to go for the same thing a rush yet again, because those type of things just don't work out 2 times in a row. The Bandit though is on the top floor instead of playing on site as I thought he would have, but it is Squirrel to find the first 2 kills on this top floor extension, taking out King last before falling down to Watchland on the Sophia at the top of Arcade.
Well, 3-4 will be where it stands after that brief exchange of violence. They will finally establish a practical breach right there, but maybe, just maybe, it's a little too late. Din Machine now sweeping it out. They've at least taken one side of the shield out of the equation. Should be a bit of an advantage for them. Sandwich going to be the one to challenge. Won't be able to land a shot, though, as he's firing over the back of Throne. Can't quite find it. It's Marquini who's stuck over there, not really in a position to bring those yokais to bear, so just kind of has to hang out and wait and hope that maybe Big A Killer has got a good crossfire, or even Mini Mumu, who's challenging around that shield. Brave move.
Brave move. I mean, he's very low in HP. Just feels like maybe there's no point in just hiding, maybe just taking the fall here for his teammates. What I like so far from Trine in this round, or Trine, sorry, that worked out for them on the roam was the support they had for one another. Of course, Squirrely dies, but Mini Muma faced a lot of trouble on the second floor roam alongside him, and as soon as he started to get damaged, Squirrely just kicked right into gear, just like how Martini at the back of Throne is kicking right into gear, finds the kill into Sandwich, making this into a U4, and Trine. The rest of them are still on site. No real impact is being felt from the Sophia on the second floor, as the Thermite just flashes himself, runs to the other side of barrels. Again, not really a lot is given to Ohio Northern in this 2v4.
Without that lightning fast pacing that we saw in the previous round, it's just been an absolute slog here for Ohio Northern. Now with less than 10 seconds on the clock, they have no choice but to hard force the breach, and a really unpleasant situation to be in. Good kill there from Watchelm, but the crossfire that we were talking about, actually, it just rips them apart. So a good setup there for them, Sugar, to bring that down and finish it off easy as you please. And Trine has very much vanquished any demons that they had over that particular site.
Yeah, no, Ohio Northern, they tried to go for the Jackal play to help them more with the extensions that they've been having difficulties with, especially on the roam from Trine. They tried to, in the previous round when they first played on Armory Throne, they didn't really run into any roam game because they didn't really have to. They just rushed straight into site for maintenance. But in that round, they tried to deal with the roam. They tried to get vertical control, but two players fell to one player, and you don't really like to see that. And on top of that, your Jackal is actually the first death as well. It just doesn't really help you in that situation. Ohio Northern couldn't find the opening pick yet again, and they couldn't really find a way to break into that top floor like they wanted to.
Yeah, that's fair. And you see now a 4-1 difference here. Round number 6 coming in. Ohio Northern not had a lot of success on this site previously, and there's unfortunately nothing foreshowing that that's going to be any different. The defensive setup of Trine looking relatively solid. They continue to run these castle barricades. Fortunately, Ohio Northern has come around. King SC bringing in the sledge specifically for that purpose. But the kill differential on their side, these numbers obviously not accurate right now, but you do still see last round the only person who put up any kills was Watchhelm, and that I think is pretty much supporting what we saw earlier. The other members of Ohio Northern are really struggling to get the guns going.
Yeah, and now Watchland is on to the MR. Of course, you still have the G8, and the G8, even though the LMGs did receive some sort of nerf, the G8 is still pretty good. It still can hit its shots. So maybe we'll see Watchland be able to pull something out of the magician's hat here. But at the moment, I'm struggling to find a way for the MR to be effective, as they do take quick control of Brave Room. They claim that space they're already in. And maybe this can help them gather some ground, but also clear it. But again, I mean, they surrendered that first pick. It is squirrely to find another one.
Right, and Sandwich now approaching forward at 3v5 here. Another sort of interrupted attack for Ohio Northern. They just can't get those early kills in the box. Squirrely there, the one who got the initial shot. Sandwich takes a quick look at the alibi, but manages to resist the urge to fire right there. The right thing to do. Otters not in a position where they can support their teammate very much, because they have to face an opposite direction. Here comes the initial swing in. Otters will now shift over to the clearance, looking on the other side. 2v5, Otters is down. Marquini the one who secures the kill. Sandwich looking back the opposite direction, and there's the leap around the corner from Big O Killer, and that will be the end there. Trine making it look easy here on Theme Park defense.
Yeah, 5-1 is the half for Trine. Hopefully Ohio Northern can salvage some sort of rounds, because Theme Park is heavily defender sided. That's not really any secret to the Siege community, and shouldn't be any secret to those who are watching this game so far. 5-1, so I mean, pretty bad, but not too bad. At least they get one round on the board, Ohio Northern, but they need to find some way to come back here on the defense. And first site that we do go to for Ohio Northern is going to be Daycare, which isn't a bad first site choice. Usually you see teams go for Armory Throne first, but both of these teams, for their first site, it's been Daycare.
Very true. And you'll see now as they, take over on the defensive side, a lot of pressure here on Ohio Northern to really make something out of this, right? 1 to 5 is pretty much the nightmare attacking half for any team. And a map like Theme Park, obviously very defensively oriented for a lot of reasons, but it now behooves you to use that to your advantage. Looking at the operator spread that they have picked, I mean, it's an interesting collection. I think the one that stands out to me, and I'm just not entirely sure about, is bringing that Warden in. They do obviously get another shield out of the mix here, but there doesn't really seem to be any one particular operator that the Warden helps cancel. Instead, relying very heavily on the sole projectile denial of the machine. I mean, I guess Sandwich gets a little involved too, but Aruni Gates are not what I would consider to be a sustainable form of projectile denial.
Yeah, no, it's a mystery not to have, especially with the way that Ohio Northern are looking to run this defense. They're extending over towards Office, having 2 shields in play, so it's a mystery as to why they're not playing the Wamaya to me neither. It will really help them spread out their utility just a little bit more. The Wamaya disc being perfect for bringing utility alongside the Jaeger ADSs. The Jaeger ADS is being burned out very quickly from Trine as you see the Ayano Squirrely make his way inside. Doesn't find the first hit, but still, I mean, that is pretty bad though, I'm not gonna lie to you. I was gonna say something.
Yeah, fair enough. Watch down here trying to kind of hold this line and prevent them from coming into these windows. This feels like a bit of an old school style theme park attack. Everybody stacked up on that side of the map trying to push their way in. I actually haven't seen this in quite some time, basically since the map was remade, but you can see the situation developing here for Watchdown getting slowly closed off. He'll still manage to get a quad kill out of the mix. Amazing play right there by the defender, the CX Storm coming in big, and that might have actually just punched Ohio Northern's ticket to a round win here as the only member of Trine left is Big O'Killa stuck up on the roof.
Yeah, that's not really the best of plays. It was a good play there from Watchland there to get the 4K of a quad so far is on the ace, unless somebody decides to kill Big O-Killer at the end of this round, but just not really good plays there from Trine. They burn the Jaeger ADSs, they get rid of that utility that helps protect the the alibi as he does find the ace at the end of that round. They get rid of this utility on the top of Dragon Stairs, but then after that you just see players just go in a one by one, not really using any extra utility to further stun the alibi who's playing inside of that cache hallway. And it's just Trine not really working together as a team to clear the alibi who's by herself properly enough. And it's Ohio Northern to grab a free round based off of that.
Yeah, a very good closeout there by the alibi. Gets that 5K in the ace on the backside of that round. Nearly got stolen right there, by the way, from Watchell, but they got it back on the other side, so good for them. And now the site rotation coming in. They're looking downstairs now as they go, I believe, to Armory and Throne Room this time. And another sort of interesting defensive setup. No projectile denial. Absolutely none. No hard breach denial. They're not going to bother with that either. A lot of traps and some area denial mixed into this, I think, in between the castle and the Tashanka.
10 seconds left before.
Not sure that I rate this setup very much. It's a weird one. I'm only going to assume that this is going to be very aggressive and very roam heavy. I feel like that's the most sensible way to use this mixture of operators.
Yeah, I mean, you can tell with the way that Ohio Northern is positioned around the map that this is an extremely heavy roam heavy setup that they have, especially with the Oryx in the mix playing on the top floor and being able to rotate through that office hatch into tellers where you see the Ayana clone go right in and scan out. If Trine or trying to figure out that site is mainly clear apart from the Tachanka, they can just find a way to isolate the Tachanka who's by himself in throne, get this maintenance wall open, kill him, and then just plant, because there's no way that Trine are going to be able to deny this with the positions that they're in on this top floor.
Correct, yeah, there's no way they can get back there in time. I mean, it's just a simple distance matter, and But despite having a pretty big spread of roamers, it does feel like Trine is making a decent entry push here. Otter's dying almost immediately. They've got the breach in, and this is where the Tachanka does come in handy. Unfortunately, the other members of Ohio Northern are not able to win their individual gun battles. You see them get taken out one by one. That leaves just D-Machine, and he's the only one left. He gets the headshot kill right there and then rotates back to the other side of Armory, but he's basically just counting time until his inevitable doom.
Yeah. Stuck between a rock and a hard rock. The fuse goes down, is gonna wait for the diffuser, or the person to defuse to play. Well, whack-a-mole with him, and he does whack him on top of the head. Big O Killer is down, and now we are in a 1v3. But he has 3 more players to find, exit his way out of split. Narrowly dodges the player who was to the right side of the doorway, right next to split in throne room. And now he's in the hallway. But again, Trine are playing this perfectly safe, perfect, and they find themselves on match point with what seems to be Ohio Northern taking a tactical timeout.
And I will just add here, I think that the strategy of kind of spreading the operators out, running all the traps, kind of taking the individual battles, I totally get that, right? As an idea, it makes sense that they're going to try and do that. I think the inherent problem is that the gun skill for Ohio Northern has just not been there. And if you're going to run those very individualistic, like lone wolf comps, you have to be able to secure kills, right? You have to be able to win your ones. And I don't think that the majority of the Ohio Northern roster has necessarily demonstrated their abilities to win their ones against Trine, which is why I think you saw that collapse. They had all the right pieces in place. They even had the right scenario with Tachanka. Shumika's kind of blocking off the doorway. That was supposed to give time for the roamers to rotate back in. And instead, they just kind of got in gunfights and got absolutely thrashed. And it just doesn't work out. And now you're sitting on match point.
Yeah, and that's been the story here for Ohio Northern, is not really finding a way to better benefit themselves as a team, as a unit, but rather try and benefit themselves as individuals. There hasn't been, of course, on their attack, the main issue was just not finding enough early picks and not always being in a really good position to support one another. Every time Trine would find an opener, Ohio Northern would try and find a trade, and if they did, it would be Trine to find 2 kills back with no immediate refrag. So hopefully we see something a little bit more consistent from Ohio Northern when it comes on a teamwork side of things, as we do go into Drogue Lab. Not a favored site choice from the defenders, but Ohio Northern choose it nonetheless.
Yeah, heading down to the lab site, it's a very interesting choice. Usually a team is only going to play this if they have a genuine, honest, this is the strategy we always use here kind of setup. Otherwise, you're just setting yourself up for a very difficult scenario. And the fact that they actually don't even seem to really have a defender on the site proper, they're literally all positioned off, is, again, sort of got shades of the disaster of Armory thrown on it, right? They're super spread out, but you can see already the attackers have made inroads. And you've got to either collapse on this early or you've got to catch them on the site. You don't have a lot of other options here.
Yeah, I mean, for Drug Lab stores, you don't necessarily want to play on the site because it is suicide. So an extension from Ohio Northern isn't a real big issue. It's just, I don't think this is a good site choice for them because, like you said, they haven't been able to win their ones. And Drug Lab stores is a site where defenders have to win their ones 110% because the attackers will just run all over you. They'll run inside of sight. But, speaking of one, Sandwich is able to win his first one. So that's one to Martini. That draw for the board, Heartbreach not being a necessity, but still a good pick nonetheless.
Well, Sandwich is traded right back there by Kyrios Mars. We'll get him down. Kyrios Mars pushing hard here. It looks like they've kind of forsaken the idea of the hard breach, at least momentarily. Kyrios here swinging out along, looking back over towards one of the other rooms, just seeing if he can find any of the defenders poking their heads out. But Ohio Northern playing this very cautiously indeed. Watch Shell there, jumps out of cover, takes Kyrios down, and now a 4v3 scenario on the cards here. Make it a 3v3 though, because Squirrely Squirrely quickly evens it right back up. Just about a minute left on the clock here. These two teams equally matched on match point.
Taking a look around.
Yeah. See Trine take the time to just slow it down a little bit for them. They have a minute left to go, so you know, not too much time, but at the same time just good enough for them to be able to slow down the pace just a little bit, get a little bit of intel, have some sort of knowledge of what's going on in and around the site. There is still a player on the top floor, and I don't think Trine know about it, so the Aruni could be very useful here, but they need to find a way to support their teammates quick and fast, because that Jackal ping came out. They know that there's only one player on site, and if the castle is going to be down early, that may spell trouble. And there you go, it's a 2v1, but there goes Watchline on the yellow stairs. Can't find a second, and Trine take Magnum Park.
Honors did a good job right there holding him in place, and then it was all down to the fragger of the team, Watchline, to get back in there and make some, you know, big plays. Unfortunately, the trade game ultimately what dooms them there. Sugar, the one thing that they have been struggling with so much across the entirety of that theme park map, and it is what bites them in the end.
Yeah. You see it, Watchland takes the leaderboard for Ohio Northern, being 9-4 on the day, taking that lead, looking good doing it, but Ohio Northern lose the map 7-2. And you know, it was a consistent, you know, combination of things that we were talking about. Lack of trades, lack of opening picks, and also just lack of gun skill, for lack of a better word.
Yeah. I agree across the board. I mean, these are the good thing here for Northern Ohio is these are things that they now know, and hopefully they can take steps to fix. It is, after all, only week 3. But before we can start talking about final results, we do have one, at least I should say, one more map to play. It'll be Chalet up next here on ECAC right after this break.
We all got a thing that gets us out of bed or keeps us out of it. The thing we live to do, that we do for nothing at all. But don't do it for nothing. Take it to where it means everything. Becoming a leader is a choice. So if you want to learn to make big decisions, start with this one. Decide to lead.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Skip entry level. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
You think knowledge is a powerful weapon? Here, you'll have plenty of ammo. Look to science to solve problems? Wield a microscope to confront global threats. You sometimes dream in code? Become a cyber attacker's worst nightmare. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
What do you expect from that first job out of college? Working your way up from the bottom? Instead, how does this sound? Starting in a guaranteed leadership position with people who look to you for guidance because you're trained to give it. and make important decisions in critical situations. Skip entry level. Decide to lead as an Army officer. Becoming a leader is a choice not everyone wants to make. Because all eyes are on you. Calling the shots. Inspiring others to follow. In any environment, at any scale. It's not for everyone, but if you want to learn to make big decisions, start with this one. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
You think knowledge is a powerful weapon? Here, you'll have plenty of ammo. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soar, I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the grind on the cars is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live. And I promise I'm trying to. Before you count me out, homie, let me remind you. They was blocking the shine, now I think it's my time to. Counting them dollar signs like lights, they'll blind you. Let me rewind to. Back when I was broke and I couldn't acquire 2 cents. And now I got 2 rents. They was sleeping on me, homie, must have got too big. Call my phone, I be like, who this? Damn right, hell yeah, I'm brand new. Smell like can too. I'm fresh forever like canned food. Try and tell me what I can't do. I wanna see the world, my vision on Shamu. That mean I got goals that's real big, foes that's real big. Y'all offer too little, sorry, my soul is real big. Coming into the ring with blows that's real big. I gotta do it big, that's the only way I can live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to the ECAC. Whew, lost myself there. I'm Corbeck. Alongside me is Sugar. You are watching Northern Ohio University versus Trine University. Trine University taking a pretty comprehensive win over Northern Ohio on our first map of the night, Theme Park. But there's one more map to go. We're looking ahead here to Chalet. And Sugar, what do you think we can expect from this upcoming map?
Well, Chalet is just Chalet, you know. Before the rework, a lot of people did not like this map, and it was in need of a makeover. When it got its makeover, a lot of people love this map. You see it a lot in T1. You'll see it a lot in T2. You'll see it a lot in T2 and below. It's a really good map for the attackers. It's a hell for the defenders, simply put, and it's a map that enables a lot of gunfights. So we'll be seeing a lot of fragging power from both of these teams. But as we saw in Theme Park, that's where Ohio Northern really struggled at, and it'll be interesting to see how that changes here on Chalet, because we saw Trine shine in the fragging department, but we really need to see Ohio Northern's guns come online.
Yeah, I agree. And already starting off in kind of a bit of a strange area, Zero getting banned here early on. Not something I think I expected to see. He's not a typical ban choice. In fact, this is the first time I think I've ever actually seen Zero get banned. And I don't know if that's a targeted thing. Maybe Ohio Northern knows something about the way Trine likes to play this map that we don't. But that's leaving some very powerful operators on the attacking side on the board. Obviously, Flores getting dropped. Now, that's far more sensible. The Rateros on this map in particular are very strong. Mira going again, which is reminiscent of the Theme Park map, and obviously she's a popular ban choice. Might see Valkyrie go here, but Ohio Northern seems to be playing off their own script, so it'll be Wamai who gets taken out. And that's a more sensible ban right there. So good to be honest, because Wamai is a key part of a couple of standard defensive setups on this map.
Yeah, you think to bar gaming, he's not really good for on-site play, he actually is for like the pantry. But if you really want to have him aid you on in the extension, you could set him up with the shield on the top of library stairs in that hallway by right by the window on top of the stairs. And he's really good at holding onto those power positions. Flores is really good at removing those. So, you know, defense wants to have an easier time at holding those positions. And with Flores off the board, it does make it a little bit easier. Zero is a mystery to me. Obviously, he has his cameras plus the hard breach gadget plus 2 decent guns. And on a map like Chalet, those cameras can be invaluable to the attackers, but he's most commonly banned on maps like Bank, where it's a big, wide open map, and you can make use of a lot of intel. Whereas on Chalet, it's mainly about how you clear the extensions and how you deal with certain power positions around the map.
Yeah, very good point about dealing with power positions. So much of the battle on this map does come down to taking just a select few places. I'm thinking, for example, of the upstairs corridor by library. That's a classic one that gets taken down. But I will be honest, Ohio Northern is showing us, I would not call it a stereotypical defense by any stretch of the word. Some interesting shield placement online here as well. And they actually have 3 shields in the pocket for this, which is a lot of shielding that they can use to set up a lot of difficult hard points to attack. So that's something that you're going to want to keep an eye on here as you see Trine begin to make their way in.
Going
bomb located by
for more of a not really a default. You see most of the players coming in through basement as they make their way inside of the site, trying something new, and that something new has worked because, well, Squirrely's already in sight. They already are trying to get this user down. Echo is going to die, and a flurry of kills go out in Trine's favor. The fuse is down, and now Ohio Northern are forced to scramble.
It's a pattern that we've seen before here where they set up these very disparate defensive positions, and then you just see Trine kind of punch their way through right into the heart of it. And now they're fighting their way back on. It's a 2v2. D-Machine gets one down. Can't pick up the second one, though. Watchshelm trying to play from above, has to rotate down the stairs to come back into this. Watchshelm gets caught from a crossfire. Didn't see Mini Muma here hiding behind the couch. D-Machine can't fight their way back in, and it will be a win for trying to start things off. Ohio Northern just not capable of mustering the defense they needed right there.
Yeah, no, it was a unprecedented, unexpected, that's the better word. Unexpected push there from Trine coming in from the basement, making their way inside a bar, getting that opener, and then just planting in an uncommon spot as well. Something that Ohio Northern obviously didn't expect and obviously weren't prepped for. They were prepared to take gunfights on the second floor. They were prepared for Trine to go for a second floor clear. But they didn't. They completely fooled Ohio Northern. They completely played y'all. And now, well, Ohio Northern not really wanting to go for that same site again, going to the basement instead. But also, I want to give my hats off to Trine for that round because, again, that was such an unexpected push, even from me just to watch that. And it completely caught Ohio Northern off guard.
Yeah, it really did catch them off guard. They did not have a particularly good response for something that, they themselves had directed towards Trine's side when we were over on Theme Park with their rush of armory. Now going over to the basement, and you've got to realize if you're sitting on the side of Ohio Northern that the disparate defenses are just not going to work. But looking at the setup here, it's another, again, very spread out defense. So this is a site where the rush in is almost quintessential, right? Coming through the garage door, a lot of higher level teams have kind of moved away from it because it's so apparent. But Ohio Northern has definitely put themselves in a very dangerous position here by having their defenders so spread out.
Yeah, I mean, they also, the way that they're positioned as well, they have vertical vert holes, vert angles on the middle and second floor. And so if Trine were to go for this, they should be prepared on the vertical angles. You also have some players set up horizontally. So if they do go for this rush, do Trine, then this could end badly for them because nitro cells, or actually they only have the one nitro cell to mute. Mini Muman just killed his own teammate. There goes the nitro cell being exploded. There goes the response there from Ohio Northern as one player is down, 2 players are out, and now 3 players are out for Trine.
Well, it's going well for Northern Ohio, or Ohio Northern. It didn't necessarily look like it was going to be that way at first, but they've certainly done a very good job of coalescing here. Now, you do have Squirrely playing on that glass, a rather unique choice in a lot of ways, and you get, I guess, the basic idea of what they were trying for here, but realistically, there's no way to make that breach of the garage door effective at all, so they'll just have to completely change the way in which they're going to do it. Squirrely going all the way over to the back side of the garage entrance here, coming in from a very different angle to push their way on, and a similar play by Mini Muma, who's going to go for a much more direct approach here towards Wine Cellar. So still attempting to maybe play off of one another a bit, but a heck of a mountain left here to climb.
You know, it's not really a lot that Thatcher and a glass can do in this situation, especially with the glass not having any smokes left. Diffuser in hand, and he could be easily isolated here on the flank if Squirrely's not capable of checking that out. That's such a common position to be flanked from that I feel like Squirrely would know, but at the moment, nothing really going through here. Tries to go for a one tap, but nobody's peeking him behind the shield. Ohio Northern are playing this ever so patiently with the Vigil and also the Thunderbird being ready to go on the flank. Thatcher just walks right on in, and it's 2 kills actually for Trine as they take oversight completely. Still Diffuser in the hands of Squirrely as they somehow make it work, getting that side control, but the hatch play being ever so powerful there for Sandwich.
10 seconds to go.
Well, the benefit of the hatch play here, too, is that they can definitely hold on to that defuse, but it'll actually be Watch Sheldon who comes on the backside and finishes him off. And a good round for Ohio Northern there to cancel out what we saw from Trine. Do keep in mind, though, of course, on our last map at Theme Park, they did battle back for a handful of rounds before eventually Trine started to run away with it. So I think that's important to keep in mind right there.
Also, Chalet is quite an attacker side of the map, so maybe even after that little bit of a slip up from Trine, which mainly came from them rushing through Garage and Ohio Northern responding perfectly to it, unlike the previous round, well, maybe they're not going to try for the same thing again. They're going to be a little bit more, well, try and maybe give Ohio Northern just a little bit more respect and from them. Speaking of the next round, we are going to go ahead and go to this kitchen dining site that we see teams commonly play more nowadays, along with basement. And speaking of common, an uncommon site that we don't see as much as office, and for very good reasons, Corbett.
Yeah, that top floor is just a bit of a death trap, and people try not to play it as much as they can. I've seen some teams take the plunge, but it's not very popular. It's not very easy. Theoretically, kitchen dining is much more effective. The key, though, is obviously securing this office area as best you can. It's a given that you can't hold on to it forever, but you really want to make them pay to get this far in, and I think that's kind of what Ohio Northern has set up for here. They've got some projectile denial. They've got the frost mats as well. Obviously, running to the Chichanka remains a pretty interesting choice, but you know he's got good area denial if you can bring it to bear. It's just getting those Shumikas in place when you need them. That's the real challenge.
Yeah, I mean, you want to really. This is a site that depends heavily on like long range gunfights as well. When you think about it, and so having the Tachanka makes a lot of sense because he can just propel his Shamikas from range. But speaking of just propelling yourself forward, try and propel themselves up in this round. Squirrely finding the opener. Also, I believe that was Watchland, and they find themselves in a hefty, deathly lead as they look to take control of the second floor.
Machine trying to be the initial point of contact right there with the MP5K, but cannot find the kills. Maybe gets one coming up the stairs. He pulled off his target too early. The damage not enough to shut Marchini down. And now this is starting to look very grim here for the members of Ohio Northern. Their perimeter has shrunk. They've still got Otters here. They've still got King SC on a really long sight line. But they've got to pick up kills, and there's no guarantee they can do it as the wall is breached open right there. King SC actually fallen back as Otters begins to make some peak calls of their own. Gets picked up right there. Somehow Otters secures a kill by sheer blind fire alone as King SC continues to rotate along the top floor. Now in the master bedroom, trying to play out the vertical. He's lost his teammate and he loses his life. It's Big O Killer who finishes him off.
Yeah. Again, trying finding the opening picks in a round, taking the map control, and just wreaking havoc on this Ohio Northern defense as they they put themselves up 2-1. Now we see Ohio Northern, they're going to go back to that same site. It looks like they're trying the same strategy, and I mean, it was just a case of them not really winning their gunfights on that top floor and just crumbling a little bit too quickly, not really having the opportunity to waste as much time as they would have wanted. But you know, that can all be fixed with some minor adjustments here.
Well,
Attackers have located
moving
a bomb.
on to round number 4, Trine has picked up 2 here on the attack. Ohio Northern, though, has made a fight out of it, to be sure. Will they actually be able to sweep another one out? Here we go back to kitchen dining, and this did not go so well the first time around. Not a huge adaptation in the lineup here for Ohio Northern, pretty much sticking to the standard stuff that they have run. And that in and of itself might cause some issues. The addition of the castle here, I mean, they're barricading off some parts of the map, certainly that will cause problems for Trine. But at the same point in time, you have essentially forfeited control or defense of an area like library, balcony. Those just aren't options for you anymore.
Bringing replicator online.
Now we see Iona Clone goes in to the living room trying to get some intel. They want to get this dining room all open pretty quickly, but also they're probably going to get office wall open pretty quickly as well, just to have some line of sight to work with on the top floor room that we see. We also see Otters, or not, sorry, Otters. I got confused by the site there. Watchland on the flank from main stairs, but Otters getting very aggressive on the dining room door. Gets punished for it, and that's such a chunk off the board early.
Well, unfortunately, they tried to challenge right there. Otters just got eaten alive in the gunfight, got a couple of hits in, but nothing that would really make up for his loss. D-Machine now playing that vertical hatch down from the top of Library Corridor, struggling to hold this defensive position, and it's looking increasingly more uncomfortable. Big O Killer firing a couple of rounds down the hallway there towards the defender, but nothing really can stick, getting droned out here as well, so continuing to make D-Machine's position less and less viable as we go, and every time he peeks, bullets come flying his way. You've got a feel right there. The Nitro Cell coming out will get absolutely nothing. He will go in for the pickup, but unfortunately Big O Killer is going to take down Watch Shell right there, and that really makes the situation bad for D-Machine, who dies shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I see Ohio and Northern trying to do too much on this defense so far. They're getting a little bit too aggressive, giving up bodies early, and it leaves the last 2 players in the defense without any real support. But maybe they can find a way back in. There's 2 players on low HP, Big O Killer and Kyrios, who does have one exothermic charge to use so that he can open up the dining wall if he so pleases, but they're not going to go for it. The mute being such a big disturbance for them because they don't have top floor control. They don't have control of those vertical angles at the moment, and so they can't get rid of the mute jammers on the wall. Sandwich finds another. It's just Trine forcing themselves into, not crossfires, but forcing themselves into 1v1s as they don't really take it to support each other. But speaking of 1v1s, Mini Muma, my lord, clutches up a 1v2 as he takes his 1v1s.
Well, that's an unfortunate ending right there for Ohio Northern. Again, the struggles on the defensive side just continue over from Theme Park. They're going back to Wine Cellar now. I mean, this did sort of work out in their favor last time, despite a bit of a harebrained defensive setup. Pretty much running the same thing going into this. So they've got, well, actually some changes. Thunderbird making an appearance. Vigil in here as well, another roaming operator. And still adhering to the idea of bringing the Warden along, which perhaps if you expect them to use a Glass again, maybe makes a little bit of sense just because that involves smokes. But otherwise, I fail to see the utility of the Warden here.
I can kind of see it. They used smokes the last time that Ohio Northern played at this site, and so they want to use the Warden in order to see beyond those smokes. And also, Sometimes Trine will use their flashes as well, and they're going for the smoke play again because the glass is coming out. So the Warden is going to be looking to counter that play by using his own utility in that sense. So I understand it. I kind of get it to some extent. Do I like the Warden pick? Well, I don't like him without a nitro, so I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's just it's a little awkward. The shields provide obviously utility, and in this lineup where you have no other shield, perhaps it's a necessity. But I don't necessarily know that he's the shield operator, the shield bearer that you want to have in this particular scenario. That said, they are running the glass, which means that smokes are very much in the picture. Marquini here actually setting up that potential kind of hold position here for a glass if they want one. Marquini then actually playing off the breach with the window in frame so they can get a decent idea of what might be waiting for them on the other side. And I will give credit to the members of Ohio Northern. This is one of their most sensible uses of shield operators they can muster. There's Watchshell who strikes, and then Squirrely who strikes back on the other side, and all that discussion of Warden for nothing. He's down very early as the plant comes in.
Plant comes in a 4v4. Marquini's down, so Plant is actually off as we see Ohio Northern make great use of the vertical control that they're given. But all it took was a player rotating to that window that Squirrely was at to take care of the vertical angles, and that only took 2 players dying. 2 players be taken out by Watchland for them to actually be able to do that. Then finds another, but Glass is still being flanked. Doesn't look behind him until it's too late. Doesn't have his gun up. And now it is Mini Muma in the 1v3.
Well, that will be, I think, perhaps the end of the round here. Mini Muma has been a killer to be sure, but I don't think he can win a 3-person duel with verticality as part of the equation. Got some soft pings in here as well, which will certainly help. He does manage to get D-Machine down. The odds now increasing that he could be able to pull this off. I say that, I didn't realize that Sandwich is down as well, so it potentially turns into a 1v1 here with 48 seconds left on the clock. Well, that's a lot of time to work with. Hanging around the corner is Otters. Moxberg in hand, tries to swing it, won't find it. Mini Muma continuing to chase across. Look the other direction, but no! Loses him in the destroyed wall, and the shotgun blast will put the attacker down.
Yeah, I'm in shock. Usually, a Mossberg from that range is a hit or miss, and I'm surprised that he took that gunfight with such confidence and was still able to win it out, because initially I thought I thought that Thatcher was in a very good position to be able to capitalize off of that. I thought he was in a very good position to be able to actually kill him, to confirm it. And he wasn't. It was just, he was actually, and he just, you know, again, Mossberg is 50-50, and it just so happened that that 50 was the one that damned not Ohio Northern, but Trine in that round, as Ohio Northern, well, they get a second. But I mean, that the basement defenses have been working out pretty well for them. Try and go for the same attack over and over again, and Ohio Northern have a perfect response to it.
Yeah, it was definitely a bold 1v1 to end the entire match. Like, let's be honest, it wasn't a situation that we see that often, and I do think that one little shred of wall there that was sort of blocking line of sight probably was the deliverance of the defender, because it just messed up target acquisition. But regardless, Ohio Northern pulls out another one here and stands on the cusp of at least turning their defensive half into a 3-3, which for a map like Chalet isn't a bad look. Trine, I think, still has the advantage here. They just really need to drive that home this round, push it into a 4v2, and then they can walk away in their defensive half. Squirrely starting it off with the scout from the Gemini, getting him a good idea of what lies ahead. And if they do intend to clear from this side of Master Bedroom, they will certainly have a long way to go before they're in a point where they can effectively threaten either of the bomb sites.
Ooh. A good read there for Mini Mumai, having the drone on Day Machine for a while, but also got to keep in mind that there is a player on that half wall, so he has to keep droning out that room completely until he's sure that he can go in there safely. Also waiting for his teammates on the other side of the map to apply some sort of pressure onto this extension that we see from Ohio Northern as the Echo drones come out to support the roamers, and the Alibi just running away in the nick of time from being Killer's line of sight.
Well, still a 5v5 here. Not for much longer, though. Sandwich getting pinged early on. Will be put in the down but not out state, and I'm not sure they'll be able to get much of a res. Oh, they will. That's a risky one, though, because the position there for the Echo not particularly good. The Iguana going to work right there, opening things up, and it's actually D-Machine who dies next. Squirrely has very good coverage from this window, looking out at the blue, throws one grenade over in the general direction, finds nothing, and it's time for another round of Geminis, which gets immediately wasted by Sandwich, who's still holding that long angle over towards the balcony window.
Yeah. All it takes is for a little kiss on Sandwich's cheek and he falls apart. More specifically, it takes one AR bullet from one of these attackers and he falls apart. At the moment, though, Trine have a good amount of control, but Ohio Northern are still kind of just hanging around a little bit. Sandwich has finally been dealt with from Marquini in that dining hallway. And now, well, Trine has something to work off of here. They can easily take the half here, 4-2, but they're going to take their time yet again, giving Ohio Northern respect that you normally would see teams give each other. As they continue to drone out, they continue to take their time.
It's left down to the 3v4. Ohio Northern striking back. Watchstone trying to turn it around. Gets one, but won't find the second. The trade there, though, it's Otters who follows it up. 13 seconds left on the clock now in a 2v2. Here comes Marquini. Swings hard. King SC looking. And that just leaves Otters in the fight. Won't be able to do it. Marquini getting in there and finishing off. And again, the trade game coming up huge for Ohio Northern.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that you can say here for Trine that you can't really say a lot for Ohio Northern, as that Trine have players who, when it comes to clutch situations, they're able to find a way to actually clutch it. You know, we've seen Watchland come close so many times but not be able to complete his clutches. And then we see players like Mini Muma who's stuck in 1v2s, or like in that situation, Marquini, who's like in just a 1v1, yes, but he still has to hit his shots. He still has a 1vx to clutch, and he does it perfectly well. And Trine take the half 4-2, now going to Bar Gaming as their primary site choice here.
Well, that's a good site to start off on. Probably the site to start off on, though certainly Basement has crept up in the realms of choices of late. But Trine really in the driver's seat of this entire round right here, Sugar. Like, if they can go ahead and just put in a win here on their first defensive side, probably Ohio Northern is getting buried under the weight of momentum, won't be able to get back in. But if Ohio Northern can pick this up, I think they actually might be able to at least turn this into a tie for the moment. Of course, some very strong operators left on the board. You're seeing one of them on your screens right there for a moment. It is Azami, who has those kunai barricades that are very, very effective and basically just kind of provide shielded hardpoints on the fly. Clearly, Ohio Northern having a challenge cut out for them, because Trine knows exactly the kind of setup they want.
Activating drone. Yeah. Talked about Azami a little bit on Theme Park. I think it's prevalent to talk about her in a map like Chalet. It's kind of like she works similarly on Chalet as she does on Border, for example, where she does see her ban rate kind of get lifted a little bit too. Extensions are very, very powerful in extensions where the defenders need to deny as much map control as possible. But Ohio Northern, they're going to be taking that initiative to step right on inside of the map. A minute has gone by, but still, they're making good progress. Well, now this falls onto how, like, they deal with the extension, they deal with these players, and well, so far, not so good for Ohio Northern. They give up that first pick due to a long ankle from Squirrely from Library.
4v5. in favor of the defenders, and that's the kind of start that you don't want to see. Out comes yet another kunai right there. It exists for the briefest of moments before another one has to be thrown to make something happen. Mini Muma getting thrown out right there. Still has the shield intact, though, so there's nothing wrong with the defensive position. In fact, the defensive position at the top of the library stairs is just pretty much inviolate at this stage. I'm not sure how they're going to be able to get around it even in the slightest. Mini Muma now shifting position ever so slightly as Kyrios Mars takes that DMR and goes for a long sightline push. Kyrios Mars now switching back over to the remote camera to give themselves a little bit of a looky-loo at what they might experience. Less than a minute left on the clock now for Ohio Northern, and that starts to make them force this. Watch Shown does actually get a kill, but it does feel like too little too late. No way, Watch Shown gets another one, clips Kyrios Mars wings right there. Watch Shown challenging onto the shield, picks up a triple kill. Very good play from the Zofia.
You see the push there, adjusting from Ohio Northern, the player coming in through the main window of library and just giving them the pressure that Ohio Northern desperately needed, but well, they have to deal with the players inside before we can think about them winning this round. Watchland on very low HP, doesn't have that withstandability that was taken away from Zofia so long ago, but is able to find a 1-for-1 trade. All Marquini needs to do here is stay alive for 6 more seconds, missing every shot, but it's a pistol whip from Day Machine at the end of the round. A little bit of BM, but Ohio Northern take it.
Good kill there from Ohio Northern to finish it off, and that will push them forward a round, a good, important, too, round victory for them. Trine obviously going to be a little bit frustrated that they came out of the gate here on the defense and ran smack dab into a lot of hardship, but I mean, it's still a very close round, all things considered. We're talking about, like you said, a pistol shot at the tail end there, Sugar, to keep them in there.
Locate and defuse bombs.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good, from Trine's point of view, that was a really good top 4 hold from them as well, albeit the pressure from Library came a little bit later than it should have, and like Squirrely is able to get a kill because he's standing in the middle of Library with nobody holding Library window from Ohio Northern side because everybody's pushing from piano and library hallway window instead of pushing the actual window in library, but I digress. Trine, gonna go back to the same site yet again, and it seems like they want to go for the same hole because there's nothing wrong with their hold. It just at the end of that round, maybe they just overstayed their welcome on the top floor when they should have backed off. They didn't, and Ohio Northern took full advantage.
Yeah, lesson to be learned there about overstaying your welcome in these kind of scenarios, right? You don't want to just, you got to know when to cut and run. You got to know when to push. These are just kind of rhythm and flow aspects of the game that you really have to get better with, right, if you're going to be a top-tier team. And it's something that I feel like Trine has done okay with throughout most of this match, but they definitely are struggling just a little bit here. Otters come swinging in, kind of bull rushing into the solarium right there. Will manage to meet up, though, with Sandwich on the other side. Flash grenade going in, the Lion King coming out almost simultaneously. Good kill right there, but of course the trade in position. Mini Muma here finishing off Otters, and again, the trade game just continues to be incredibly advantageous for the members of Trine. Now Ohio Northern really starting to apply the pressure towards the library hallway, and this is one of the decisive choke points of the map. It's going to be an absolute bear for them to get Kyrios Mars out of this, especially with that DMR in hand.
Yeah, keep in mind also, he's playing behind a shield in 3 ADSs, and what utility does Ohio Northern have to deal with these ADSs? What are concussants? Yes, but also 3 frag grenades, as one of them is thrown by King. And again, you still have 3 ADSs that you need to deal with. And of course, you don't want to waste all of your nades on this one ADS, so it's going to be a chore to really remove Kyrios out of this position on the top of library stairs. The drones do come out. They already know he's in this position. They know he's playing behind the shield. He has no reason to move because, again, the shield stays up, those ADSs stay up, and it's just a recipe of disaster so far for Ohio Northern. They really have run into a brick wall here.
Yeah, this library hallway defense has killed them, and I mean, this is the entire point of that defense. Now you see a more direct challenge coming in here. Dangerous, though, for Sandwich to be in this position. That's not a good place to take these gunfights. You can see already Kyrios Mars has a pretty good idea of how they need to set up. Could just pop up and secure the kill almost immediately. Nearly goes for a second, but will hold off on it. 2v4 now as the shots are rattling off the shield. Kyrios Mars just continuing to stack up here. Really can't be challenged by any single member of the Ohio Northern squad that's left. They just don't have options in the tank. D-Machine and Workshell are the only ones who are still in it. We've got Martini down in the low ground, Vinny Muma with a crossfire angle here, and the library hallway still intact, and they're going to go for full reposition, but they only have about 12 seconds left on the clock to make this work. They start to move in. D-Machine absolutely canned right there, and then Watchshell taken out from the stairs. Good kill for the final act. And that, I think, is going to perhaps spell the end here for Trine, or I should say for Ohio Northern. I just don't know what they have left to play with here as we go into this match points or round to determine whether we're on match point or not.
Yeah, that last round just came down to the fact that losing the Lion early on really screwed them over. And I'm not talking about like the EDE skins. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm mainly talking about the flashes. They really needed those flashes to help them burn those ADSs. But again, they didn't really, even if they kept the Lion up, they didn't really bring a lot of utility to be able to deal with the shield on the top of the library stairs, the library hallway anyways. And they just got screwed up from a crossfire from the top of library stairs and also from the top of mezzanine as well. And they tried to force themselves in the basement up those main stairs, but Trine, they were already prepared for it. And like I said before, when after they lost that last round on that same site, there was nothing wrong with their setup. It just so happened that they overstayed their welcome on the second floor. This time they stayed on the second floor for the whole entirety of the round, but they had good reason to, because they had a really good shield setup in those power positions that I was just talking about. So really good stuff there from Trine, and now they're going to Office Master Bedroom. And this is a site that I said doesn't get a lot of play, and for obvious reasons. It's just not a good site to play on. It's a very uncomfortable site for defenders.
Yeah, I think that's a very valid point. There are a lot of kind of ugly sight lines here. The rotations between sites are not particularly good either. You really only have one rotate hole that you can reliably count on, and even then it's usually covered by a gun from somewhere because it's right next to a master bedroom window. The build-up now coming in, you'll actually see it's a handful of operators working their way up from the basement as the Artilla Electroclaw is choosily deployed there by Martini. Azami on the roam looking for the initial pickup, absolutely wrecked by Watchstone, who uses the drone as bait in a very effective manner indeed. And they've got the drones to play with. They managed to keep a few of them alive here as this push begins to build up.
Squirrely dying on the Azami, and well, that's a very bad pick to give up, because the Azami has those rechargeable Kiba barriers that can be very, very crucial and waste a lot of time. Even if you're not using them on the extension, if you're using them on site to just block the entrances and force the attackers into another area of the map where you have a lot of crossfires being positioned, that can be very damning for the attackers. But now, since the Azami is off the board, Ohio Northern don't really have a lot in the way of a barrier stopping their tracks as they make their way around the map, and it looks like they're going to do just that. The Kaizum was smartly moved out of bathroom, and that's a very good decision for him, because he could have easily died in that position. Actually, he doesn't move away. He gets it down.
He does indeed get the down right there. Sandwich in the down, but not outstage, not dead yet. The members of Trine here holding up. Kyrios Mars will get the finish on Sandwich. Still 4v4 now. As you can see, King SC stepping forward into the breach. There is a defender waiting just around the corner. The gun gives it away. A telltale sign. The pre-fire comes in, and the shot must have just clipped King SC because he will not die. Watch Shell very low now as Mini Moomob botches the shot. Won't do it a second time. King SC taken down. And that leaves it at a 3v3, but in realistic terms, it is a 2 versus 3 because one of the members... Well, no, just as I spoke, Watchshell will get Zofia back up, so it remains a 3v3 with less than 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah. That flank, though, I believe, yeah, for Mini Muma, who still is alive from the bottom of floor. Full HP as well. And there's not any, I'm gonna assume that there's not any flank moves from Trine that are, not Trine, from Ohio Northern that's being watched as Kyrios does die. He's now gonna go downstairs to watch flank is watching him. So gets a crucial 2K in that round. And now the last player alive is Big O Killer. He has a player on the window, upside down window repel, player on prone. It's very good positions being played here from Ohio Northern, but it's Watchland and Solarium to deal with them at the end of that round.
Well, Trine University so close here to finishing this one off and putting it to bed for the night. But they just can't seem to get the better of Ohio Northern here as they get right on the verge of match point, and Ohio Northern takes the round win. And this is as good as opportunity as you're ever going to get if you're sitting on the side of Ohio Northern to potentially push this onwards towards a map 3. They're starting to hit a good little streak here. This attacker-sided map really benefiting them in their own attacking phase.
Yeah, I mean, also, I mean, in that round as well, I wanted to talk about some things, but now I can't quite remember what it was. It'll come to me. It'll come to me at some point. And if it does, I probably will not mention it at all because it'd be pretty awkward too. But anyways, Kitchen. Yeah, it happens to the best of us. I don't know why I did that. I had like a really good thing that I wanted to talk about, and it was a point about Ohio Northern, but I'll probably save it for later if it just like resurfaces. But Kitchen Dining is going to be the site choice here for Trine. They want to put themselves onto match point, and they want to end it. They want to end the game here, or not here, but they want to be able to have an opportunity to end the game in the very next round. Also, as a reminder, both of these teams have been doing pretty well so far in the ECAC. They're both 2-0, but you know, Trine are on track to put themselves 3-0.
Yeah, definitely a little bit of a derail right there of their dreams so far, considering that they have been on a relatively decent record, the both of them. But when two 2-0 teams hit one another, well, unfortunately, somebody does have to lose. So that's how it goes. Sandwich here rolling a drone through, getting some scouting done, trying to give Ohio Northern a good picture of what they can expect here. And you'll see King SC on the OSA, who's making yet another appearance in this map, shield in hand, pauses for a second to destroy the camera, and then sort of stacks up to get rid of yet another default cam before the rest of the team members come forward. And once more, the bulletproof glass is out to present a little bit of sniping position and a bit of a scouting position as well.
Ooh, first kill is in the favor of Trine. It is squirrely to find and that's a very important pick for a lot of different reasons, right? You get this wall open in dining, you want to try and get some sort of plant off, and the OSA shields provide you the extra bit of coverage. Combining that with the Sins utility, and well, you have a very good opportunity to put yourself in a very good position. But Trine is also operating on Trine time as they're running some really decent denial using the Kai trick to fruition, and both exothermics have been used, and one of them has only gone off to open up this office, which they don't have the opportunity to open up dining anymore. And that's actually very, very huge for Trine.
Well, indeed, about a minute left on the clock now. 4-5 is the number situation. Ohio Northern desperately trying to find some answers, but it's not forthcoming. Good kills across the board here from Trine. Absolute ambush from Mini Muma. And that'll finish it off. Trine closing it out in style with a series of brutal deaths. Ohio Northern on their absolute last legs here, staring down match point.
Yeah, it's just that came off the back of obviously the early pick that came onto the OSA that really would have screwed them up anyways in the execution where they try where they if they were to try to go for a quick plant behind the dining room table, as a lot of teams usually do. They're off of the back of some really good Kaid tricking from the Kaid on the side of Trine, who took out the last exothermic for Ohio Northern and essentially forced them to go for the top 4 push, the desperate top 4 push that they went for anyways, which only led them to the guns of the players on the top 4 in there anyways. And it was just a desperate attempt from Ohio Northern to make something out of essentially nothing because they had nothing in that round to work with, and Trine did a very good job using their utility to avert that push into the guns of their players. We're now going into the basement, and this could potentially be the last round between both of these teams here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, this is kind of do or, I mean, this is do or die time here for Ohio Northern. This is a must-win point. They've gone to basement. It's a decent site, I guess, if you're going to throw all your stuff down on the table here and try and win it out. But, I mean, they've already made moves to secure the garage door. There's not much more you can do on this one but then prepare a potential bandit trick for this. And they do have Sandwich in the mix here on the attacking side, so they will get it open theoretically. No trick in place right there. Oh, no, he's flirting with it, but he can't seem to make it work. Mini Muma over the top, goes the Nitro Cell down. No targets. He got shot out of midair by the looks of it. And a big save right there by one of the members of Ohio Northern as the fight for the wall continues up pace. Mini Muma doing a great job of just using those bandit charges to prevent the exothermic going down, but it won't be enough. The breach is open. And now Dire Straits for Trine here to win this one out.
UI, I literally looked away for like a second to take a note. Look back, I saw the 45. The UI is really like, I can't believe they haven't fixed that. It's been a couple months and it's always been like that. Try and get this main wall open. Now they have the glass washing this from behind the shield, but at the moment, Trine aren't trying to give any hits away if they don't need to. They know they're waiting. 2 nitro cells have also been used, so if Ohio Northern were to go for this execute on the main wall, there would be no nitros. And so essentially Trine are forced to have to take these gunfights. Squirrely is down, and so is the machine as both teams trade a 1-for-1. But again, well, we'll see how Ohio Northern deal with this as a player is on the top 4 in dining. That's a bit of a wild play there from Mushline. I'm not too sure about that. He gets knifed, and again, Ohio Northern, they find themselves now trailing.
Drop the bomb diffuser.
Oh no, Sandwich backing up right there, gets absolutely clipped by Mini Muma over the top, and that probably is the end of this here. Otter's the only one left, is on the glass. The challenge potentially coming in from Mini Muma. Mini Muma with 18 kills, by the way, on the round, has been playing spectacularly. Goes for the res, Mini Muma runs out, perfectly timed. And that will be the end there for Trine. Yeah, not much you can really do about that. I thought for a second we might be seeing a bait attempt, but alas, it is not to be.
Yeah, it was just a beautiful little play there from Mini Muma, waiting for the sound cue of the down. And as you guys know, if you play this game on a regular basis, when you pick somebody up, that makes a really big sound. And it makes a very obvious sound. And Mini Moon, I was just waiting for it. I would have personally used my teammate as bait there to just like pick him up and say and wait for the swing, but he didn't, and so he gets punished for it. And it is Trine to take the 2-0 victory. Congratulations to them. But Ohio Northern University, that wasn't necessarily a bad performance, but you could argue that there was just a lot more teamwork to Trine University than there was to Ohio Northern.
Yeah, there was. I mean, they were definitely the better team on the night. I don't think that there's anything that we can really say otherwise. There were moments there where Ohio Northern certainly looked quality. They had some good performances from individual players, but they were just never able to quite hit the level of their opponents. Still 2-1 here to start things off. It's not a bad record for them to have. They've got some learning opportunities they can take away from this. I think things that will really benefit them as a team that they can still take a look at. But for the moment, we've got to give the victory to Trine. We're going to take a brief break right here. We'll be back after that with an interview with one of the successful Trine players. So stick around. We'll see you in just a minute.
Ain't accept and ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, if I ask for it, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out and finish this bid, we finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, job that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the ground on the cars is real big. I gotta do it big, the only way that I can live.
Are you the one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. Want to forge a better future? Start with the structures that support tomorrow's missions. You believe the best offense is a good defense. We've got a great way to prove that theory. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Hey man, I just can't find a comfortable headset. I mean, I've tried everything. Literally everything.
Sheesh, my brother. I got you.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
That is comfortable.
Are you the one others rally around? Inspire soldiers to follow your lead. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
We all got a thing that gets us out of bed or keeps us out of it. The thing we live to do, that we do for nothing at all. But don't do it for nothing. Take it to where it means everything. Becoming a leader is a choice. So if you want to learn to make big decisions, start with this one. Decide to lead.
What sound experience would you like today?
I'll have the fantasy pack.
Good choice.
And could you make it a Cloud 2 wireless?
On his way, sir.
Sounds amazing.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Skip entry level. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
What will you like today? Another Cloud 2 classic?
I'll stick with the usual. Maybe take a little bit off the sides.
Oh, that's fresh.
The HyperX Cloud 2 Wireless. Legendary comfort goes wireless.
Hey, watch your head.
You think knowledge is a powerful weapon? Here, you'll have plenty of ammo. Look to science to solve problems? Wield a microscope to confront global threats. You sometimes dream in code? Become a cyber attacker's worst nightmare. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
What do you expect from that first job out of college? Working your way up from the bottom? Instead, how does this sound? Starting in a guaranteed leadership position with people who look to you for guidance because you're trained to give it and make important decisions in critical situations. Skip entry level. Decide to lead as an Army officer. Becoming a leader is a choice not everyone wants to make. Because all eyes are on you. Calling the shots. Inspiring others to follow. In any environment. At any scale. It's not for everyone. But if you want to learn to make big decisions, start with this one. Decide to lead as an Army officer.
You think knowledge is a powerful weapon? Here, you'll have plenty of ammo. Explore more than 200 careers at GoArmy.com.
Y'all think too small, I got big dreams. You just starting, I'm way ahead at the end scenes. Started reading and dodging all of the quick schemes. Money like your Spotify, boy, I got 10 streams. And I'm still looking for more. My people, they got a soar, I'm putting that on the Lord. Ain't accepting, ignore, just kicking down all the doors. Guarantee you, boy, fast forward, it's gotta be real big. I gotta make it just for my kids and for their kids' kids. That's wealth years and years. Promise my brother soon as he out to finish this bid. We finna do it bigger than anybody ever did. The odds is real big, jobs that's real big. Satan trying a little, my God is real big. Stayed up on the ground.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back here to the ECAC. Our winners tonight, Trine University, here with some exciting Rainbow Six Siege gameplay, and we've got one of the victors in the commentary booth with us right now. Welcome aboard, Mini Muma. Thank you so much for joining us, and congratulations on your win.
Thank you, thank you. I'm glad to be here. This is fun.
So I know that we've got some questions for you, but I'll let Suga take the lead here. They got some things they want to ask, so fire away.
Well, congratulations on the win first off, but also first question I wanted to ask was about the first map of Theme Park, and basically, how much practice do you guys have on that map, and was that a map that you were expecting to play here today against Ohio?
We really don't have that much practice on Theme Park at all. We, since it just got added to the map pool recently, we just scrimmed it this year. We've only scrimmed it maybe like twice and had one game on it where we won, but we don't have a whole lot of experience. It just clicked really well for the team. Squirrely did really good that map too.
Yeah, he got like a lot of opening picks, and that was another thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about. That was one thing that I noticed for like the first 4 to 5 rounds, I believe. You guys got all of the opening picks. How are you working to enable your teammates? All of you, how are you working to enable each other at the beginning of that round, especially Squirrely, because he was on a barn burner on Theme Park?
Yeah, I think Squirrely's just a good player. He likes to play aggressive sometimes, maybe a little too aggressive. We mess with him with that, but he's a good player, and he'll play out there where people aren't expecting, and he'll get that opening pick. Sometimes we'll play together as a team. Like I think one time on Chalet, there was an OSA shield. I impacted it, and he was already pre-firing it, and we coordinated that for that opening pick. We just playing in duos, we do really well. There was that round on Chalet as well where Squirrely and I almost picked up that W on the round when it was a 2v5 after smoking off the garage wall.
Oh yeah, I remember that. The glass picks.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Well, I mean, that's all I have for you with Kerwick.
Well, you guys now sitting at 3-0. You've come off a good win here tonight. How do you feel about the rest of your season going forward?
We're feeling good. I mean, we've played some hard teams, and we've won our games in other conferences too. And we haven't lost a game yet for this season. We're 7-0 for other leagues too. So
nice.
We're feeling good.
Yeah, riding high. That's great. I love to hear it. Just, based on tonight's performance, anybody you feel deserves kind of a shout out, somebody who maybe did some stuff behind the scenes that we weren't even aware of, even coaching staff, anybody like that?
Owen, I think he's Big O Killer in the game. He's our new player, and he was thrown in this year, and he's just thrown in right into the team, and he's been picking up the role really well.
Yeah, definitely one of your good performances tonight, though. Of course, all of you performed very well. Well, thank you so much, Mini Muma. I hope you guys have a nice little celebration. I hope you guys keep winning. I look forward to seeing what you can do here in the ECAC.
Thank you.
Well, that will just about do it here for us tonight. Suga, any final thoughts you've got before we wrap it up?
I mean, no, not really. It's my first cast for ECAC, and I'm excited to get started with some great old collegiate R6 action. And it happens to be alongside you, Corvette. So, I mean, it's pretty nice as well.
Well, that's nice of you to say. It's been a pleasure casting with you, of course. But that will unfortunately do it for tonight. If you are interested in seeing more esports action here on the ECAC, there is more in store for you tomorrow night, 8 p.m. EST. It's Valorant here on ECAC. You can see Wake Forest play SUNY Canton, and that'll be an exciting match that you want to tune into and watch. But for now, for myself, Corbeck, from my co-caster here, Suga, from all of our productions,